The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
What's up, bees? I am here all on my lonesome. It's just Tincup here. Britton is out this week, so I'm giving you the intro all by myself, so you're not going to get the cute little other side of it. I will give you the roundup, though. We are talking to Sommer Elston this week, and it was a joy. We laughed our asses off. We talked about how all three of us have read the book Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso, and how that really was a great book for us to realize that if you want to do something hard and if you want to be something big, that you can do it even if you come from poverty and really work your way up in the struggle and the hustle. That was such a good book. So we talk about that a little bit. We talk about not really managing it all, how we're so in awe of Sommer and think she's so fantastic. And she was like, yeah, I really actually don't know how I'm doing it either. So I'm really excited for you guys to listen to this episode. It was a super fun one to record. Sommer is a crack up. I did not realize how hilarious she is. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear this one. As for events, we have quite a few events coming up. And please forgive me because I know Britton has some events coming up too, and I only have my side. So I will post this week's events in our stories so that you guys know what to look for. But I will be at a really cool event this Sunday. As you guys know, Haven and Flux, we are candles for mental health. So we have partnered with Sunday Pilates, which is how I manage my mental health, is going to that Pilates studio every single morning at 7 a.m. And she is hosting a Mental Health Matters event. There will be a mat Pilates class out in the lawn. There is it is a paid event, but there is $10 off if you go on to Eventbrite. I will do a link to all of this, but you go on to Eventbrite and you can get a ticket and use code Sunday10, and then you can get $10 off your ticket. I think tickets are about $50, so bring it down to $40. There's going to be sips, shops, all of that stuff. That is the usual. It's going to be a super, super fun event. I'm really, really excited. So that is going to be Sunday, May 15th from 11 to 3 p.m. at the Village at Ranchera in the nice little lawn area there. And then we have Decked Out on the Deck at Moonlight Lace, where you can catch Britton, myself, if you guys remember Amy Burkett from Breathe Bar. She will be there as well. We've also interviewed Natalie Mills from Moonlight Lace. So all four of us will be together, along with DJ Curly Joe, who's a vinyl record DJ. We will be up on the deck above Pinion in Midtown. So I'm jacked for that. That's going to be a really, really fun event for us. That is going to be Thursday, May 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. And then we have Ladies Night at Record Street Brewery. Best night of the month, y'all. You know, we got Thursday, May 26th. That's going to be from 5 to 7, like always, at Record Street Brewery. We cannot wait to see you all there. That is truly the most fun event. It just keeps getting more and more fun each time we do that event. So can't wait to see you there. As far as updates, this is a really awkward thing to have to do this without Britton. I'm not going to lie. I'm really grateful she is my partner in this. We'll just take a moment of silence for Britton and the gratitude that I have for her, because she is the light of my life. And without her, this podcast is dumb. No, I'm kidding. It's not. It is actually. Anyway, all right, you guys, I don't really have much to tell you. Things are fun in my corner. I get to go have lunch with my brother today. We're going to go to Burger King. It's going to be a real joy. And that's pretty much the sum of it. So I'm going to let you guys jump into this episode. Sit back, get ready to giggle a little bit. It was some really fun girl time. And Sommer does a hell of a lot more than we all realize that she does on social media. So kick-ass chick. Enjoy.
So Britt, because this is in your wheelhouse, why the Automobile Museum?
I mean, you know, for me, it's about the cars all day long. I love cars. I like old cars, new cars, all the things. For me, the fact that they have the DeLorean here and the Batmobile in the same room is like, it's like it makes my heart happy. So that's why for me, but I think for like someone like us, like doing things with all of our friends, like 160 of our close friends could go to the theater.
In any movie that you want. They have so many things to offer. The space camp for your kids if you like need a little break or you want to look at the cars. Reno's just really lucky to have it. It's one of the biggest collections, I think, in the country, which is awesome.
It's so cool. And the fact that it's here in the biggest little city is like the coolest thing ever. So yeah, grab a bottle of tequila and come on into the theater.
Yes, Back to the Future.
Get all your friends, 160 of them, so the whole town of Reno.
So everyone you know.
And watch a movie.
Yep.
You can find tickets at the automuseum.org.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where you go get your tickets.
Perfect.
Fun day.
All right, so you guys know that I live for Western wear, specifically my boots and my hats. So I want to talk a little bit about a brand new brand that is new to Reno, Nevada, and is from our beautiful babe over here. So Britton, tell us what Murdock's is.
Well, first of all, hats have been one of my truest loves since I was a kid. I swear I had a hat on in every single picture as a child. And then they quickly became a BLFT signature. We couldn't find the hat that was just perfect. And so we decided to design our own. Murdock's is a family brand that started in the great state of Nevada in the 1950s. My great-grandparents started Murdock's Western wear. Fast forward 60 years, the Murdock sisters recreate this homegrown brand by curating a hat line that embodies the spirit of Nevada. We were raised in this amazing state, and we watched a Nevadan's ability to put in a hard day's work on the ranch, followed by a hard night's play at the casinos. We pulled inspiration from the everyday beauty around us, the sunsets, Lake Tahoe, the mountains, and the forest.
I'm not gonna lie, I have full body chills right now because you hit so many nails on the head just now. Like, there's nothing that screams Reno, Nevada more than family and community and a little bit of Western. So the fact that you put all of our favorite things together and then you made it all about like bringing back the roots of your family brings me so much joy. Y'all need to check out Murdock's hats. Where do you find them?
Murdock'sHatsandApparel.com.
We love it. Go shop, y'all. All right, you guys, I am so excited to introduce Sommer Elston, the creative genius behind design studio Pretty Little Paper Company and the apparel and accessories brand With Love from Reno. Y'all know her well. If you don't know her, you've definitely seen her work. She's basically superwoman, running a few businesses, being a mom to 3 super active boys, a wife to a financial advisor, and managing a household. Plus, from what I'm seeing on her Instagram, she's adventurous and makes time for travel and friends. So I don't know how she's doing it all, but we're going to ask her and hopefully find out. I was introduced to Sommer through Instagram. When I moved to Reno, I somehow came across her Instagram, and I just love how authentic she is about things going on in her business. Honestly, it's aspirational to me because I'm always so shy about things like that. She's super funny. She's real. She talks about real life stuff, which I really like. So naturally, like all good Instagram relationships begin, I slid right into her DMs to talk shop and tell jokes. In fact, the first time I talked to her, I was in a Shields waiting in customer service, and I was so annoyed, and we were talking about like something in regards to customer service, and I was like laughing my ass off in Shields because it was like the most relatable conversation of just like real ass crazy customer service stuff. So anyway, I'm so pleased to welcome her on the show. And I know Britton has known her for quite some time because y'all grew up in the same city. So you've been probably crossing paths for a long time.
We really have. So Sommer Reno is small, but it was even smaller when we were growing up here. So we've crossed paths in our businesses. And obviously before I started mine, I knew about hers, and I just have always admired how versatile she is. I mean, like, there isn't a thing that she doesn't do. You'll see her murals around town. If you follow With Love from Reno, you've seen the merch. It's on kids, it's on men, it's on women. And then she also has a blog. Well, she has her paper company where she's a graphic designer. So she does logos. And I mean, a lot of the logos in Reno, she has designed. And then she has kind of like a blog situation where she talks to her followers. I mean, she's just so versatile, but I have known you for, I feel like forever. The first reason that I know you is because your grandpa was Bill Raggio, the senator. So famous there. She's famous in the state of Nevada for that. I got my master's at the education school, which is the building is named after your grandpa. It's called the Raggio building. So I spent a lot of hours there. So I was always thinking of you.
Are you Italian?
So my family is, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I know Jim because we went to Our Lady of the Snows together. We were in different grades, but like it just goes way back. And his grandma was our substitute teacher. She was so awesome. Loved her. So yeah, Reno is small, but I've just been a fan of you and your family. And I feel like we have a lot of similarities and just a lot of crossover, a lot of similar friends. And so anyway,
we keep finding more similarities.
I know,
in things.
I know. But I think because we're both projectors, we're just like waiting for the other one to be like,
Y'all are just waiting for the invite.
Like, well, be my best friend. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Is this the invite? Like, this is a group invite? Like, we're all friends now?
We are all friends now. Bridget's like, Summer is she loves you so much. And I'm like, okay. And she really do. Bridget's awesome. She has a lot of friends, but like, she doesn't like that many people.
I'm the same way. Like a very select few.
Yeah. She's very like, I'm protective of my time, but she's times 10. So anyways, you guys are,
I adore her.
You guys vibe. Yeah. Well, anyways, thank you so much for being here. Yeah. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. What did you do before you started all these companies?
So I was actually in college. I got married when I was just shy of 23. I graduated high school. I went to the TMCC because at the time UNR didn't have anything design related. And I knew I wanted to do something graphic design. And TMCC did. Their curriculum mirrored the graphic design program up at Boise State. Okay. And I feel like community colleges kind of get a bad rap, but it was really hard and I learned a lot. Mm-hmm. So I went to TMCC, did the graphic design program there, continued on to UNR and did the advertising school, which when I went over to UNR, half the people in my classes didn't know design principles. They didn't know the design softwares. So I was in college and I got married in September, graduated college in December. My then new husband and I were planning to go to Europe for a few weeks after I graduated. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go apply for these jobs and go, but I also need a month off. So, we were getting married. I designed, of course, all of our stationery, and really liked it. And so I told my husband, I said, if I can kind of make like side money till we go on our trip, does that work? And he's like, yeah, that's great. So I started this like little small business called Pretty Little Paper. And I did invitations for friends and I did wedding invites for people I knew who were getting married. And then by the time we got back from our Europe trip, I was working full time for myself. So I never had what I called like a real job. But I went to college, did my own thing, and here I am now.
I love that so much. And it is what you said about community college. Like, I just want to highlight that because we do have like a lot of listeners who are going either into college or who are in college currently. And I went to OCC, which is Orange Coast Community College down in Southern California. And I had a lot of professors that also taught at USC.
Totally.
So I was like, what? Because my cousin paid for a degree to go to USC, which is great. She uses it. But
no, it's totally the same. Yeah, it's the same. There's so many crossover professors. TMCC is such a great school. And I think, honestly, I'm not like a huge fan of higher education because I just feel like it's so expensive. And unless you're going for like a trade or to be something that you automatically come out and can make money without being in a ton of debt, I just don't think that it really helped my career that much. Right. And I mean, luckily I didn't have debt from it. So I kind of that was a luxury. But yeah, if you're going to go to school, go. I mean, we're like really like go TMCC, but it's way cheaper and it's just as hard and you gain just as much. Yeah. So
even when I went over to UNR, I was like, TMCC was harder. Like the professors expected more. They were on it more. You couldn't get away with, like, you had to go to class. And especially with the graphic design program, like you couldn't miss a class. There wasn't like, oh, you pop in, you pop out. Like, it was hard.
Yeah. There's no like sneaking into the auditorium and being like,
yeah. And I mean, I think people think, oh, you'd go and you learn Photoshop and InDesign, but like you are in a drawing class. You are in like, you learn the design principles the first year and then you get onto a computer. Like we didn't even touch a computer the first year.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good program.
I mean, it's so crazy too, when you think about that. Cause like I went to fashion school and it was merchandise marketing and I wasn't even in like design. And I literally had to learn every single textile, like in the, like we had this giant, like Bible-sized book of just like textiles, and I had to know like what the viscosity of each one was, like if it would burn or not, like if it would be flammable. Oh my gosh, that was a fun test.
I should probably go to that class.
Yeah, a lot of your things, like pretty much everything we wear is flammable, like highly flammable.
Love that.
Not like just like for all fashion, like Prada too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Even Prada.
Well, and fun fact, I always tell people, I'm like, all of those design houses, and we're about to get canceled. All those design houses, like Louis Vuitton is made in the same exact warehouse as Madewell.
Oh, totally.
Interesting.
Like same leather. It's all, yeah.
Right. It's all about the branding, which is another thing we can talk about. So what sparked creating With Love from Reno? So you have now it's Pretty Little Co.
Yes.
And With Love from Reno is something that just kind of evolved from that.
Yeah. Okay. So I have family in Nashville. We pre-COVID would go every year, visit my grandpa who lives there. I love the city. I've always loved it. It is evolving like faster than even Reno. And I have always felt so inspired when going to Nashville. And so back in 2017, maybe it was October, we were in Nashville. I felt super inspired. I was like, I just love everything in here. And then we went to Maui in December, and we went into this little shop downtown, and there were shirts that said Maui. And I'm like, it'd be cute to do something that I like the style of, but in relation to Reno. And at the time I was still super heavy in the stationery world. And so I wanted to create something that kind of brought the two together. And I thought, well, when you sign old letters, you put sincerely or with love or take care. So I did With Love from Reno. And that was kind of the start of it. And I slapped it on a t-shirt and I put it on Instagram, and I'm like, would anyone buy this? And people went crazy for it. And it was a white t-shirt with this script, With Love from Reno. I had cut off the shoulder, so it like hung off a little bit. And I think I ended up like selling 50 within the first week. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never had a job in retail. Like my whole job history, I worked at a Kiva Juice and a Human Bean coffee shop, and for the Great Reno Balloon Race.
You're just learning on the fly.
All the things. Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah. I feel like that's how it starts, because then you don't have any preconceived things in your head of how it should go. Instead, you're just like, there's a demand for my product. How am I going to get this product to my customers?
Well, and I didn't know anything about wholesale, about pricing. I would go into businesses and ask them if they wanted to carry it, and they asked what wholesale pricing was. And I'm like, I don't know. And they explained like, well, this is your cost, and then you double it, and then you blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know any of that. So I was like, oh, so there was a while where I was making like $4 on things because I didn't know how to charge.
Live and learn, right?
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Those margins are increasing as we speak.
Yes.
I love that for you.
So good. I mean, and it is so great too, because now, are you still in Shields, or you were in Shields for a period of time?
Yes. Last year, Shields, that was like my bucket list place. I really wanted to be in there. I had sent them a stalker amount of emails and calls, and no one would get back to me. And then another mom that her kids go to the same school my kids go to, she has a few businesses out at Legends. And so she kind of did the introduction. So I had a meeting with them last year. We got stuff in to Shields. It sold out during Christmas. Like there's probably like 2 things left. And they just placed another order last week. So it'll be summer items. They're getting a little tie-dye there, which...
That's so controversial. Can you explain what happened there? Because just for our listeners,
with
the tie-dye?
I don't know. During quarantine, everyone was tie-dyeing. It was like a thing. And so I tie-dyed a few things. I was like, does anyone want these? And it flew. Like it was to the point where my Etsy wasn't loading. People were mad at me in DMs. And I was like, because I hand dye it. I don't like order a tie-dyed piece and slap my logo on there. Like I sit there in my kitchen, wrapping things up, putting rubber bands on them, tie-dyeing them, washing them. And it just like became a thing, and people freaking love it. So I told Shields, I said, I'll give you a little tie-dye. So there, it's coming this summer.
You're like, manual labor, here I come.
Yes. But then I like put I have a video of, it was during, I don't know, like maybe the start of 2021. And I have our baby like slapped to my chest in a baby carrier, and I have gloves on my hands, and I'm tie-dyeing because he didn't want to be put down. He was teething, but I knew I needed to get those finished. So he and I tie-dyed together, manual labor.
I mean,
at its best.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever
you know?
it
There's some cardio. It's fine.
So Britt, why intentional candles for mental health?
Because building healthy habits around your intentions can have a positive impact on not only your mental health, but your overall productivity. I wanted to create a premium non-toxic candle that reminded my customers that life is complex and we can live in the and space. Talking about mental health and mental illness doesn't always have to be scary or depressing. Sometimes it can be fun and enlightening. We are wildly unique and expansive creatures, as we've talked about on the podcast before, and we can be many things in a day. And sometimes we just need to light a candle to remind ourselves who the fuck we are and what we are capable of.
I 100% agree with that. Plus, your candles smell so good and they fill up my whole house. I hear you have something special for our listeners.
I do. I have a little promo for our bees. Y'all can head to havenandflux.com and use code BOB20 at checkout to get 20% off your order. I hope y'all enjoy. I love it. I mean, the things we do for our businesses. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it is interesting too, because we just found out that Sommer is a projector, same as us. And so I was talking to her, just listening to her stories about all of the companies she created. All of them happened like by happenstance kind of. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's almost like the best companies start by accident. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And then you can become more deliberate with how you do things, and then you kind of create an identity and you understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, and you kind of hone in on those details. But that's awesome. And also to have, 3 kids and still continue to do all of this, like that. I just feel like there's not enough time in the day, but you make it look easy.
No.
Yeah, you do.
Well, it's funny, when I got here this morning, I was like, so I have a doctor's appointment later today. Oh, my doctor's appointment was yesterday. And they actually called me to tell me I no-showed because I forgot.
Oh my God, that's what the call was for.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So no, and I'm like, thanks guys, I have it all together. Like, let me tell you, no, I forget appointments. I don't show up to things, but I do have 3 very busy boys. My husband is like a unicorn though. He's so helpful, obviously very clean. If I didn't have his help and his flexibility, I would not be able to do the things that I do, like at all.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, yeah, he is. He's great. And he's so funny and outgoing. And
he is. I saw a meme that was like, if you are a dreamer of a woman, you either need a partner who dreams with you or no partner at all, because it won't work otherwise.
Totally.
Don't look at me, Britton.
Well, we were just talking about this last night, and I was like, you have to find someone who is secure in themselves.
Totally.
Because if you're in this business, you are constantly like the one that's out there, and you just need someone who supports you and tells you good things when you come home after a hard day and believes in you.
Yeah. I mean, you saw Jim at Ladies Night last week on his birthday, packing up my stuff, keeping it organized. I was like,
oh my God, I would like kill to have any fucking person just come and wheel my candles out to my Jeep. You don't even have to load them.
So funny.
Just wheel them out.
He was like, do not lift this. It's heavy. I was like, I'm fine. Okay, actually, it's really heavy.
And then you hurt your back.
I know. He was so mad. I was like, I'm fine. I'm a strong, independent woman, but help me.
So sweet. I know. Meanwhile, both Ryan and Jerry were like, can we help you? I'm like, no. See, that's
strong, independent woman. Don't need no man.
That's my issue.
And then
right
here I am in a house full of men. I'm like,
but it's so fun. I think that like the brotherly bond that your kids are going to have, like, is just so special. And I think that it happens more with same-sex siblings, because like with the 3 of us in my family, there's 3 girls, and like we just have a bond that's incredible. And then my cousins have 3 boys in their family. They're older than us, but like the bond is just so awesome. And it's like,
well, and I write you and Bridget all the time, and I'm like, all I want is for my boys to be like the Murdock sisters. Like, you guys are encouraging, you love each other, you're all different, I'm sure you fight, but also like, I love the sibling bond that the 3 of you have.
But it's also, I think it stemmed from our parents. So they were like, you have your sister's back no matter what. And even though like I make fun of them for a sport.
Yeah, but you're allowed to do that and nobody else can. Like, I am allowed to make fun of my cousins and like nobody else is. Like, if you come for my, like, I can talk shit on my family, but if you talk shit on my family, I'll put you in the ground.
Even if they're like laughing at your joke, you're like, don't laugh too hard.
Yeah,
right.
Seriously. That was my joke for me only.
Okay. So what is one thing that you hope that you can leave all your customers with?
I want to make sure that they feel like it's a personal interaction. Even when I was doing stationery, like they always have the option to order on Etsy or Minted or whatever. And it is such a hard I don't know, like area in wedding planning, especially because you're going to pay more when you go through an independent designer, a small business. So I want people to like have this personal interaction, to know they're getting something completely unique to them. I remember when I first started, I'd always reply to their emails, even if I wasn't done with their design, just to be like, I'm here. I got your email if you have questions. And I still try to do that today. I obviously have help like in my emails now because it's gotten kind of crazy, but I want them to leave feeling like they had a friend that they interacted with, whether they're buying my product, I designed something for them, I did their branding, whatever it is.
I think you do such a great job at that. And I feel like, and I don't know if you feel like this, but when you're like, oh, Sommer from With Love from Reno, people are like, oh yeah, I know her. And I'm like, but do you really know her?
Right.
I think that you make everyone feel seen and like that you are their friend. And that's hard to do when you're communicating through technology.
Yeah.
But you do that. And I feel like people know you, like how we feel like we know celebrities. We're like, you know,
right.
That's really cool.
Well, even at Ladies Night, somebody came up because they had forgotten their son's shirt. They're from Incline. They came to do the mini session. So
I have a story about that.
Okay.
Keep going.
She came to buy, she was like, do you have a sweatshirt? I just need something. And so she said, I've been following you for so long. And I said, message me. So I know that like we met, and I looked back at her messages, and she's been messaging since like 2017, 2018. So she's been following for years. And I'm like, and I just got to meet her in real life. And it was so nice to like put the two together.
Right.
I grew up with that woman.
Oh my God.
She owned Yoshimi's, I believe. One of the only sushi restaurants in Incline Village, in Christmas Tree Village.
Wow.
And I used to go there with my dad. And the last time I saw them, I was sitting at the bar with my dad, my now ex-husband, and a guy that I used to see. My ex-husband was sitting next to him at the bar. Awkward. And I've never wanted to leave. And my brother, who was being diagnosed schizoaffective at the time, and so he was having like episodes. It was the most chaotic. I thought they forgot me like entirely. And she showed up and with the kids, like they have kids now. He used to be the chef, the sushi, like he would do all the sushi. I was like mind blown. And then she's like, yeah, I came and Sommer helped me out. And I'm like, this is such a weird moment, but like so cool that this is how this like Reno Tahoe works.
Together. Yeah, totally.
Cause I like grew up with her. I mean, I have some stories we can't tell on air, but
no, she was so sweet. And even Jim and I were at Silver Peak last Friday, and the server was like, I follow you on Instagram. And I'm like, tell me, like message me. I want to meet you. Like, tell me who you are. Cause I just see this little bubble. Right. And I have people that I'm like, oh yeah, we talked about this and this and this. Like, I don't know. I don't think I'm like big in Reno. I look at other people that have hundreds of thousands of followers. Like I have like 12. And so I'm like, meh, but I'm like, just,
but it's the weight of the, I mean, that's a lot of followers.
Yeah.
It's the weight of your followers and the influence that you have over them. Like we were talking about this yesterday. You can have 100,000 followers, but if you can't influence them, right, or if they're not truly followers,
totally.
like yours carry so much weight.
And when we say influence, it's more like impact. Like I feel like you impact because you're not influencing us on purpose to buy anything. Like I never go on your site. I'm curious about you. Like I genuinely am curious about you. I'm curious how your life is, like what's going on. Like I'm invested in the person that you are and the businesses that you've created and like what you're doing in Reno Tahoe. And I think that that's like the big, we talked about this with Jerry and Sarah, like the takeaway is the consistency and the authenticity behind the person. And that's what makes you like, you can tell there's no like forced weirdness. Right. Like it's honestly like very aspirational.
Oh, thanks guys.
Yeah, it really is.
So I am just curious because as a single woman with just one small little derpy chicken nugget on my hands and 2 businesses, I'm drowning. How are you doing it all? Like, how do you manage it? I think do you have any tips for our listeners that helps you keep everything in line?
So I try to prioritize all the things. I feel like I don't have a very long work day. I always like to take my boys to school. That's like one of my main things. I'm like, if I'm going to be self-employed and have all the bad with it, I want to be able to go to their school activities, take them to school. I'm late to school drop off like 99% of the time, but I don't do the drop off line. Like I walk them to their door. And so my work day is usually like 9:30 to 2:30, which is not very long. So I try to prioritize the things that are more time sensitive it is hard because I have like my own clients. I have the With Love from Reno stuff going on. And then I do run social medias for 6 other pages.
Oh my gosh.
I know. We were talking about it before you got here and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I love it.
I'm blown away. Like you are literally accidentally living as a projector. Like 9:30 to 2:30 is what, like 5 hours?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not right.
Well, just a short amount of time, like blocks of work.
Yeah. Like it's, I don't know. It's hard. And then I work from home. So sometimes I'll get distracted where I'm like, let's go downstairs and see what's in the fridge. So I just try to prioritize what needs to be done right now. Because I technically do work for other people. Sometimes I put their projects before my own, which is hard because I want to do a good job for them. And the company here in town that I work for, they're just like the nicest, most wonderful humans in the world. So I like to do a good job for them. But I would just say like, try to prioritize what needs to be done first and then just knock it out.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, we were talking yesterday because you probably have experienced this, Summer, at every stage of your business, things grow and things change and things evolve. And so you constantly are having to do that yourself. So like what maybe you started doing at the beginning now looks completely different. And that's something that I've had to learn because now we have more employees and more people that help us. And so it's like, those are no longer my responsibilities. I have to completely wipe those off of my plate so that I can think bigger, broader, focus on things that I'm good at, which is driving the business forward.
Right.
Vision. So like you said, you have someone that helps you with your emails. I think that's so wise because for you to continue to grow, it is impossible for you to continue to do every small task in detail.
But I also need to hire someone, like whether it's for one area of my business or another, but I don't know how. And I have like control issues and I'm like, this is my baby. Like I've worked so hard to get it to where it is. And I don't even know how I'd go about hiring someone. And I'm like, I don't want to tell you all my things because I also don't trust you.
And also it's like more work.
Person. Yeah. But I'm like, I think I could grow so much more if I had an extra set of hands, somebody else. But I don't know how to do that.
We just had this conversation yesterday because I'm currently in your stage of business where like, not yours, like I'm not at quite that level yet, but I have like all of this responsibility. Everything falls on me. Like I am production. I make sure I have enough raw materials. I have to make sure I have enough finished goods. I have to make sure like you understand that it's a product. So like I have to make sure I constantly have everything on hand. I'm constantly selling out of things. Like I just got a message from somebody while we were sitting here where they're like, you have nothing available on your site. Like I just tried to order a Mother's Day thing. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
There's so many.
So, and I'm now in a position where I'm like, okay, something has got to give because I cannot be the person who's constantly like, I'm now capped out for max sales per month because I can't produce the amount that is required to hit a higher goal than what I've already reached. Right. So now we're looking into some other things that we can talk about. Britton, tell us what BLFT is all about because it's my favorite place to shop.
The Biggest Little Fashion Truck is a family-owned and operated boutique on wheels. We got started 5 years ago because I had this deep desire to make women feel more confident. And I found out that one of the many ways you can enhance your confidence was through clothing. Hence our why, confidence through clothing.
We love some confidence in our lives.
We pride ourselves in bringing back that old school expertise in customer service by providing an experience, whether it be at our pop-up events around town.
We love the pop-up events. I'm at those with her all the time and they are fire.
Or we have a storefront, the Babe Cave. We just want each and every babe to feel better and be ready to be seen after shopping with us. Shop us online at the Babe Cave or our pop-up events at local businesses around town. We can't wait to see you. And a little something special we have for you. Use promo code BOB20 for 20% off your purchase online.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna be shopping today. Yeah, something has to give at some point. Like, I like the idea of having somebody answer my emails.
Yeah, I hired a virtual assistant. It's not the girl I have now. It was someone else. But I mean, she helps with workflow. She replies to emails. She sends the contracts. I'm like, can you just reply to this person? Let them know we got their email and I will look into it. Just some response. That way people aren't left on read or unanswered. Yeah. And it's been helpful.
Where did you find her?
Instagram. Where do people find anything?
On Instagram.
Where do people live their lives? On Instagram.
Yes.
What keeps you going? Like, what's your why?
So my grandma, she passed away when I was 7, but she owned a business. It was court reporters. Like, she would send girls out and they were court reporters. It was her business. She had her own house in Bodega Bay. I go down there every few months. I don't know if people see that on Instagram. And she was amazing. She had this dream life. She had this business, and I wanted to be like that. I promised her when she passed away that I would go to college. It was like her one goal. She wanted me to go to college, and then I just want to like make her proud. So she is my why, and I want my boys to also be like, my mom does all these things, and yes, she's working and she might not be at everything all the time, but I want them to see a woman who is strong and goal-oriented and creative. My oldest son is super creative, and I just want them to see me reaching my goals, and I want them to be proud of me.
I love that so much.
It's something bigger than yourself, which is so cool. And it comes through in your work. It's really awesome.
Thanks.
Yes, for sure. Should we do some rapid fire questions? These are going to be a little bit quicker and a little bit lighter.
I'm ready.
If you could do anything else, what would you be doing?
I would want to be some type of like private investigator. I feel like my creeping skills are immaculate.
Nice.
Are you like a true crime fanatic?
Oh yeah. One of my really good friends that I Marco Polo with every day is a forensic scientist here in town. Like, she's legit amazing. But it's like too nerdy for me. She like talks about like DNA things. I'm like, nah. So I like the true crime, but I like, I don't, math and science is not for me. So let me creep all the things.
You're like,
I can see this. You're like,
totally.
What's the name?
Yeah.
Is he from here?
Oh,
he
his address? Yeah. Oh, and then when he put his house on sale, what?
Oh my gosh.
that is a trait that somehow missed me. And it has come, like, that is something that a lot of my friends have. Mm-hmm. And I missed it, or I don't care. I don't know what has happened, but it's actually come to haunt me that I don't have that ability, because then I'll have friends where they're like, you should check his Hinge profile. I bet That's how I found out some things.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh, girls are like a different breed of that though. Like, they can find your Pinterest board from 2012 when you were going to get like it's interesting.
It can get sticky.
So that's what I would do.
Yeah, I could see you being great at that.
Thanks.
What is one high of last year and one low?
Is it weird that I think last year was 2020? I'm like, wait, there was a year in between.
Right. I feel that.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I would say like business wise,
anything. You can do both.
Okay. Business wise, I would say getting into Shields, because that was like a bucket list.
That's awesome.
Personal wise, our middle son, I've talked about how he has a speech delay. He started kindergarten last year. He's super young, but we wanted him to go, and his teachers and therapists, they're absolutely incredible, but he's talking super well. I mean, it's still hard to understand, but like, he has made huge progress. So I would say that's my like high for personal things.
That's amazing. Yes. We don't need to talk about your lows after that.
Yeah, let's like lows.
Let's just keep it high. Yeah. What's the funniest thing that has happened in your business?
I felt really ballsy a few years ago and wrote Garrett from Reno, who's on The Bachelor, and was like, can I send you with love from Reno t-shirts? This was like before influencing was like really a thing.
Yeah.
And he said yes. And everyone's like, I know him. It's not a big deal. Well, I thought it was a big deal. And when he was on the show, after the show had aired, he had worn his With Love from Reno shirt a bunch, and it was on Instagram. And I just felt like it was the coolest thing that had ever happened to me. And everyone was like, but he's from Reno. We all know him.
You're like, great. Then it's doing its job. He's like, from Reno with love from Reno.
Check mark by his name, and and people would send me the picture of him in a shirt. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, and he makes it look real good.
Yes,
he does.
That's awesome. I love that you have an idea. Like, you just go for it.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, stop doing weird things, but at the same time, I'm like, that's what the internet's for,
right? So. And like, shoot for the moon, land in the stars.
Totally.
Like, I'd rather overshoot. Have higher goals and be just below them than stay status quo.
Yeah, so totally.
I feel like I need to be like embracing my inner Summer. Like, she's in there, but I've been really, like, what is it called when you make it small?
Suppressing it?
Suppressing her.
Good word.
Shrink wrap it.
I've been shrink wrapping my inner Summer. Well, no, because I'm always like so worried that I'm gonna upset somebody or do something or like whatever. I took bloopers this morning from our freaking,
which I love,
which I showed Summer, and she's like, please just post this stuff.
I love bloopers. They're my favorite.
So anyway,
awesome. Do you know what? Sorry.
No, you go.
Do you know what we haven't talked about is you had a podcast, the Reno Social.
Oh yeah.
That was amazing. Yes.
Okay.
With Sam, right?
Yeah. So I met my friend Sam. I hired her to do headshots, which now if you look at the headshots, my shirt was wrinkly and I was like going through a weird stage where I had pink hair. Anyway, she came into my life and we became friends we both were working moms, we worked from home. And she was like, I really want to start this podcast. Will you be on it? And so I was her first guest. And she was like, will you do it with me? And I was like, totally. So we would record at my house. It was super awkward. Like when we would meet people that we didn't know, I'd be like, welcome to my house. Sorry. And then Sam had her son. And so she was home with him. And I was like, well, I'll keep going. And so I kind of did it by myself for a while. And then I think the last episode we recorded was in March of 2020. And I remember her and I were like 12 feet apart because it was when COVID was like super scary and you didn't know what you could do and what you couldn't do. And we loved it. And I think someday we'd like to pick it back up again. It's just, let's add one more thing to our plate.
Right. Yeah. You guys were
But you were on it.
I was on it. I'm sorry. I was such a boring guest.
No,
I feel like
so great.
I didn't, it's okay. I didn't know like what I was doing. I was so
Bridget
overwhelmed.
with you?
No, she was still in college at the time.
Okay. So it was just you.
I was just like, so like, you know, when you start your business and then you like, at the beginning, you're like, this is so great. And then you hit that kind of lull where you're like, wait a second, nothing is going as I planned. I was in that stage. So I just wasn't very confident in like what we were and what we were doing.
Well,
but
you faked it because it was great. The podcast was all about not small businesses, but local businesses in Reno. We had bloggers, we had entrepreneurs. I remember my little like blurb in the beginning was like entrepreneurs, dreamers, anything. I had a VA on there, a virtual assistant, Britt Strange Bikinis. So like fun. I loved it.
And it's just, I feel like something that you are so good at is being ahead of things. So like you having that podcast, like you do things before people think of them or know what it's a thing. So how many times do you have to explain to people what your podcast was?
Well, honestly, it was all like Sam. It was Sam's idea. She thought of the name of it. And I was just lucky that she invited me to join her. And then I did help, like, I feel like kind of pick and choose who we wanted on there. But then people started to get offended if we didn't ask them to be on it. And because I'm sensitive, I was like, I'm sorry.
But Sam, you guys are amazing. And like, you're always just ahead of it. So I think that's just like a trend that I don't feel like it. Okay. Sorry. Go back to your question.
I feel strongly about that. I love that. I honestly I'm learning so much from Summer right now, just by her being herself. I feel like we're having a real, I'm gonna realign after this with my own brain. That made no sense. I apologize. Name one thing you do for self-care. Like, what is your routine? Like, what do you do for yourself? Because you got a lot of things you're doing for a ton of people.
So I told my husband the other day, I love our house. I love my bed. I love our bedroom. And I really like to nap, or I like to just lay in bed and like scroll TikTok or Pinterest, where just like, I don't have to worry about anyone and I can just like be, and I get really cozy. I love blankets and pajamas and like slippers. So I would say just like scrolling. My answer should be reading, but
girl, no, it shouldn't be anything. That sounds perfect. And that's heavenly. Like I
love it.
Yeah.
Or going to dinner with my girlfriends. Whenever people are like, do you want to come over to my house for dinner? I'm like, no, I want to go somewhere for dinner.
Right. Yeah. And let's eat delicious food.
I love going out to dinner. That's like my other like self-care for sure.
Oh, I love that. You are accidentally living your design perfectly. Just to be clear, the reason I keep bringing up human design is because Summer just learned about it before this podcast, and we're all the same design. And then like her napping is very projector of her.
Yeah. I love that.
Like you'll read about that. That's going to be like a huge thing.
Good. We're all the same.
Yikes.
It's kind of scary.
Sorry, Reno.
Lake or ocean vacation house?
Lake Tahoe house.
Yeah.
Ocean's too salty.
Oh gosh. Everyone loves
Is that what
lake.
they say?
Where do we live? What do you expect the answer to that to be?
Ocean.
But it's so salty.
No, it's just so good.
And when you surf, you have to surf with sharks. In a lake, you can surf and there's no sharks.
Don't care.
Well, she's not surfing anyway.
Girl.
What's your sign?
I'm an Aries. Are you an Aries?
Taurus.
Oh, I'm right at the cusp. Mm-hmm. Yes. So my oldest and I are 2 days apart. Like my birthday is April 13th and his is April 15th, which I was like, oh my God, it is the worst thing ever. Mostly because it makes for the most hectic week. But then personality wise, people always say that Parker, our oldest, looks like Jim, my husband, acts like Summer. Looks like Jim, acts like Summer. And I'm like, it could not be more spot on.
Yeah.
We're both Aries.
Wow.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's always hard when you raise yourself.
Yeah.
You're like,
I could not. That's why God did not give me girls. He's like, you couldn't handle it.
I hope
You can handle anything, but
you have the dream set up. Like I've always said, I wanted all boys. Like I just want to like pump out 2 twin boys right out the gate, a receiver and a quarterback.
Twin boys.
so if you guys could just make that happen up there, Britt knows what she wants.
Big boy.
I thought I was going to have only girls. So when we found out our second was a boy, I cried. When we found out our third was a boy, I was like, well, all right, here we go.
Here we go. Go.
What is your drink of choice?
Is there a time of day?
Yeah, let's do morning and then night.
Iced coffee, always. Hot coffee is just like not for me.
Oh, I love hot black coffee.
You.
I'm the opposite.
You had told me about black coffee years ago. You're like, it takes a while to get used to. No. Iced coffee, cold brew, forever.
Yep.
Middle of a where you're going place day, June shine or a Truly lemonade. We got really into them during quarantine. We'd like pour them over the pebbled ice and it was chef's kiss. And then at night in the summer, I would say rosé, and in the winter, any kind of red wine.
Nice.
Honestly,
I love beverages.
This is a girl who knows what she likes.
I appreciate
and doesn't like.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I like mad respect. I'm real Summer. We're going to be friends for real outside of this.
Yes.
Who's your celeb crush?
Oh my God, this is the easiest question ever. TJ Watt, he plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is beautiful and he's athletic and he's beautiful and he's like very good at his sport. And I love the Pittsburgh Steelers, but then he's also like really beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of man there.
Yes. And he's one of 3. So I'm always like to my husband, I'm like, so do you think like Sawyer's the TJ Watt or do you think like Dawson's going to be the TJ Watt? And he's like, Summer. I'm like, what?
Just tell me. I need to know.
Yes.
What is a book that has changed your life?
Yeah, you guys should be laughing. So I was like, okay. And honestly, it sounds so cheesy. When I had our first son, I was technically a stay-at-home mom for a few months and it was not for me. It is the hardest job. Whenever people are like, oh, I'm just a mom. I'm like, no. But when I had our son, our oldest one, he had colic. And so I'd listen to Girl Boss on Audible and we'd walk around the neighborhood because that was the only thing that would make him stop crying. And I really loved it. And it made me just be like, okay, you don't know what you're doing. Just keep going.
Yeah, I loved that book. My mother-in-law gifted it to me before I started the truck. And honestly, I feel like it was because she was such a mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That it was like, if she can turn her life around, not that I needed to turn my life around, but I was like, if she can do it, then so can I, you know?
And she, if you listen to it, she is like, it's her voice, which I loved.
So I listened to that I was on a business trip and I was driving from downtown Atlanta to Nashville. And I am not kidding you. Like that book does change everything for you because it made me realize and I remember that trip was a really hard trip for me. And I was like I was still married at that point and I was like going through a lot. And I was like, okay, if this bitch can get through this like chaos, then I can get through anything. That show was really good too. Did you ever watch that on Netflix?
No.
They did a pretty good execution of that. And then I would say,
oh yes, I did.
I feel like I think we should have like a moment of silence for Sophia Amoruso because she's redone herself again. Like that woman keeps hitting rock bottom and keeps coming back up. She's like, you cannot keep me down. And that's the only goal in life, I think.
Yeah.
Because you're going to fall.
Yeah.
Totally. And you're going to have chapters close and you're going to have to reinvent yourself because in reality, everything changes and we're not going to be where we are 6 months from now, 5 years from now. So it's like just having that flexibility to adapt and believing in yourself and betting on yourself, knowing that if you're betting on you, like nothing can stop you for what you want to do, even if it has nothing to do with what you're doing right now.
I want to have her on the pod.
Yeah. Oh, she's incredible.
I think I'm going to reread that. I don't give a fuck if she's mean. I'm sorry. I'm mean sometimes too. Like
she's kooky though. Like I'm like,
see it.
ooh, like I can relate to her in some ways, but I'm like, which, to each their own.
Yeah.
I mean, people probably look at us and they're like, they are batshit crazy. Maybe just me. Maybe they're just looking at me.
I mean, probably. I think I am. I think I'm a little weird. I think I'm a little out there.
Yeah, we have to be a little weird.
What is your hype song right now?
what did I listen to on the so I love the Reno rodeo, as you know.
Yes.
It's like my husband has been involved in it. My
like generations.
Yeah, my father-in-law was president the year my husband and I met, and I fell up the stairs at the rodeo because I was so nervous that I had met this cute boy who I ended up marrying. But anyway, to answer this question, she had me at Heads Carolina by Cole Swindell.
Yes.
It is like, I love it.
That is,
even my husband loves it. I'm like, what are you listening to? He's like, nothing. But it's just like getting me pumped up for the summer, and I just love it.
Yes.
I love what he did with that song too.
Yes.
Like, what a cool kind of like not remake, but remake.
Well, I told him, I was like, my husband, I was
Cole
like, can
Swindell.
you guys get Cole Swindell at the rodeo concert? He's like, not this year. I was like, okay, but next year? Because I think incoming next year, the year after, the first rodeo president is a female.
Yes. That's going to be so badass.
She's like, I mean, like girl boss, that's her. She's amazing. She like went into this organization that's like so male driven, was like, I'm going to do it.
It's like the good old boys times 10, so political.
Yes.
And
like so the fact that she works hard, like she works so hard, and the fact that she got elected president, I was like, girl power.
Reminds me of our girl, Melissa.
Yes.
That she is on the board. I'm like, you are such a badass. Like, but she's going to work her way up too.
Yeah. Even in my phone, Melissa's director, Melissa, because she ran against a bunch of men, and we were at the luncheon that they announced, and I remember she won, and I barely knew her, and I was like, you won. And it's like, well, yeah. She was like, yeah, because she works so hard.
She's does.
So calm and collected. No, every time I see her, she's so calm. I apparently don't know her very well at all.
You should come hang out with her more.
Yeah.
I honestly, Mel, we love you.
Would rather see that side of her.
No, that girl is hungry, and she's going to get hers. And I'm so glad that I met her and that we became friends. And I've just like been impressed by her all the time. And just how true she is to herself too.
Yes.
Sounds like the next president is like that as well.
Yeah. You guys should have her on the podcast.
We should.
She's awesome.
We should. Well, I love that you love the rodeo. I will see you there. Murdock's has a booth there this year.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll come by.
Okay.
You guys, I might be in Dallas for like the majority of it.
That kind of breaks my heart.
No, it literally, when I saw the like lineup for this thing, it's for work that I have to be at. I was like, here we go again. I'm going to start missing all the things in life that I want to be a part of.
Next year will be better anyways.
It's okay. If you could give, this is like the last piece of the episode. If you could give one piece of advice to someone starting out in business, what would it be?
I know some people cringe at the saying, fake it till you make it. But I remember in college, I applied for internships, and one internship I applied for, I sent my resume in a Word doc, which apparently is a big no-no in the design community. And the owner, he still owns an agency here in town. He wrote me back, and he was so awful. And he was like, you will never have a career in design. You need to just stop. Like, it's not too late to change degrees. And I remember being at my in-laws' house and being mortified because I didn't know. I just wanted to learn. And so from that point on, I just pretended like I knew what I was doing with everything. Even when I started Pretty Little Paper, I made fake invitations. And I remember one caption was like, so busy, only one spot left for the summer. I had no clients. I was not busy, but I was just like, I'm going to make it look like I'm super busy, that I'm sold out, that there's no room. And I almost feel like it was a marketing tactic where people are like, oh, you're really, okay, I need to book with you. I need to schedule this. And I just continued to fake it till I made it.
I mean, that's truly like, they say that all the time, where this is a part of my business that I struggle with because it's like the best sellers, right? Like, you know what your best sellers is. If you just talk about your best sellers, like it could increase your overall revenue exponentially, but people are so caught up in talking about what's new and what's exciting. And to your point, like acting like you have this thing that sells out, that is your best seller.
And I try to be honest, even now with the With Love from Reno thing. I'll say like, this didn't really sell very well, or, you know, you guys all asked about this and then no one bought it. And I want to be transparent, but I also, I want strangers to be like, wow, she has her shit together. Wow, she's so good at whatever this is, that I feel like almost then I believe it. And it's like manifesting it in a way to where then it like becomes real. But even people who are starting out and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think I'm good enough. I'm like, no, you are good enough. You need to just fake it. Like just pretend like you're booked, like you're busy, like people will chart or pay you for whatever price you're asking. Although I do feel like you have to work to build up.
Definitely. I agree that. I mean, I was just about to say this. I think that if you do it enough, then you start to believe in yourself. And honestly, that is 90% of it. And I think that at least in business, my business, timing is everything. Of course, I thought that I think everyone thinks that they'd be farther along than they are.
Yeah.
And when you project out of everything is best case scenario, but what I'm learning is everything happens at the perfect time for where I can handle it. So it's like, if we would have scaled or grown too fast, I wouldn't been equipped to handle it. But now I have all this experience with the highs and lows in business that you're like, okay, throw it at me. I got this, right? I'm ready to expand. I'm ready to, vertically integrate.
And I think it's also helpful to find a community that backs you. I see so many like businesses that are starting out, and I don't ever want, at least for like my business, to appear cliquey or like people can't be invited in. But when I go to your ladies' night, everyone is supportive. All the other vendors are supportive. They introduce you, they follow you, they shout you out. And it's like finding a community within a business can help you grow so much.
It's like, it really is two parts. It's like faking it until you feel it. And then also having like the army, like your pack at your back, because like truly when I think like yesterday I had a phone call with Britton and I was having a rough start to the week and Britton was like, nah, like stop, you're good. This is fine. Like also that happened to me too. And like, also that's fine. Don't worry about that. Like you'll sort that out in a couple months. Like it's just having people who can relate to you and like support you and lift you up that you can feel safe with.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys have had Allie Conway from Strange Bikinis on, but for some unknown reason, she always gives me really real, honest advice. She'll say, have you ever thought about doing this? Maybe don't do that. You should do this. And I mean, I don't go asking her. We're on Marco Polo and her and I had traveled to a conference together, but like just the things the insight that she's learned, I am so appreciative of. And she is super helpful. And then my friend Vanessa that owns Wiley Body, she's also always giving me feedback, ideas, suggestions. And without like this army of women, I don't think my business would be where it is.
Yeah, I feel that like thoroughly.
Definitely. It's always nice to listen to the people who have come before you because they do have insight and they could say one thing that completely turns your business around or one phrase that you cling on to for the next 3 months. And like they, so that's awesome. Yeah. Allie's wise. I feel like she's kind of on the forefront of everything as far as design and just creating this brand, and it's from Reno and it's just like so cool. I admire what she's done and how she's built her business.
Yeah. I really cling on to words that she tells me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, tell our listeners where they can find you.
All the places. I mean, Instagram, obviously. I do have a With Love from Reno Instagram. I honestly don't check it as often as I should. It's more just like a home where I can repost photos. People can see it. If they're new to Reno, they'll find it. But at pretty.littleco on Instagram is like that's like my home. It's what I'm on every day. It's a hybrid of like my personal life, my workplace. But I would say on there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us.
Seriously, I'm sorry you missed your doctor's appointment.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Shittle buff.
I just hope they're nice when I call.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Y'all know the drill. Follow along Brit on Blast and find us at BLFT Reno, Murdock Hats and Apparel, and Haven and Flux on Instagram. If you liked the show, subscribe and review Brit on Blast wherever you are listening to your podcast. We love you so much. Have a magical week.
Cheers, y'all.